During the 9 months of the Russian-Ukrainian war, the Kremlin not only failed to achieve any of its declared strategic goals, but also suffered a number of painful defeats in the Kiev and Kharkiv regions, as well as in Liman and Kherson. Despite the large-scale and unjustified losses, Moscow is ready to lose even more of its soldiers in Ukraine, the journalists of the important stories write. Their sources in the Russian General Staff and the Federal Security Service say that the military leadership wants to buy time and stabilize the situation on the front line at the expense of the mobilized, despite the fact that most of them are poorly trained and not provided with anything.
By next spring, casualties could be as high as about 100,000, but this does not scare anyone, they will be replaced by conscripts. Source close to the Russian Federal Security Service in a comment to the publication Important Stories.
According to the same sources, by next spring the Russian Defense Ministry plans to train 120,000 servicemen who can be sent to Ukraine to make up for the losses among the mobilized. But if the losses in manpower can be made up by mobilization, it is not clear what to do with the damage inflicted on Russian equipment.
Got hit.
Yeah!
According to Forbes magazine, in total, all the equipment lost in the 9 months of the war against Ukraine cost Russia about $21 billion. From the end of February to November, Russia lost more than 2,900 tanks and about 5,900 armored combat vehicles, the Ukrainian General Staff says. Some of them were simply abandoned by the Russians during the retreat. Ukrainians used trophies to repair their equipment and even commission them.
Quite a lot of Lend-Lease after the retreat of the Russians from Kherson. There is a lot of burned equipment which acts as a donor. Even if the tank is completely burned out, you can also take a lot of useful things from it. There is also a fully operational trophy, T-72B.
According to Forbes, Russia spent about $82 billion on the war in Ukraine, which is about a quarter of Russia's annual budget. And this is without taking into account the planned stable defense spending and losses in the economy due to sanctions. Analysts estimate that expenditures have now risen, and Russia is spending at least $10 billion a month on the war. It is not surprising that now every third Russian has begun to save money on food. This is the data of a sociological study at the All-Russian Center for the Study of Public Opinion. Nobody canceled the deficit due to sanctions either. According to Reuters, Russia is asking India to sell tires, bumpers, thread and paper. Earlier it was reported that the Federation was interested in purchasing clothes and shoes from North Korea. Reported by Roman Smoler, Angelika Brushnevska, UATV News.